Hi everybody, it's Kevin Bray CPP again, back at you with another in my series of videos about my experience studying for the CPP exam, which I successfully passed on May 24th. Witness the certificate I just got in the mail. Gotta get a frame for that thing. I'm right proud of it, as you can tell. I put a lot of work into this. Somebody asked me how many hours I studied. I never really kept up with it all. I think I estimated somewhere between 150 and 200 hours over the course of 3-4 months. And I'm not saying it's going to take you that much time to study. It just took me that long, and I got a positive result. I still have yet to see a score of how well I did on the test. I thought I was going to get that. I haven't seen that. But my studying, back to that, got started with this book that was recommended to me by one of my former colleagues who is now a CPP. And you can get this on Amazon, I think, for $80-something. The complete guide for CPP exam preparation. And it is a lot of information. However, I do not believe that if you read this thing front to back, studied parts of it that you weren't familiar with, I question whether or not you would pass the test. There's a lot of material in it that is not found or not discussed. I've verified it. In the Protection of Assets Manual, the ASIS POA. And if it's not in the POA, it's not going to be on the CPP exam. So that's the risk of buying study materials that don't come from the people that make the test. It's not rocket science. This book here had, I think the biggest problem for me, it had hundreds of sample questions, but I was really, when I first bought it, I said, oh, this is good. I'm going to really tune myself up. And in hindsight, I now know that a good portion of those questions were on material that was not on the test, and it was never going to be on the test because it's not on the POA. So perhaps it was in the POA 9 years ago when it was written, but not anymore. So if you have this book, you've gotten a hold of it, maybe somebody gave it to you for free, I would trust the material that you're going to understand is not like investigations and personnel and all that. That's not changed. The drugs, but I'd caution you on that too, because he went into great detail on drugs and drug offenses that they don't go into that much detail in the POA, and hence the exam that goes along with it. So but the sample questions, one after another, I didn't even recognize what he was talking about because I'd go back to try and figure out the book how I got the answer wrong, only to find out that it wasn't referenced in the book. He's asking questions that are not in his material. Well, maybe it was in the POA material in 2015, and that's why it's in there, but those days are gone. So when I got that stuff wrong and I was all over the internet trying to get answers because I couldn't find it in the POA, I was wasting time, and I could have been better spent studying the stuff that I really didn't know well that was going to be on the test. That's all I'm saying. So so it's like got good and bad about it, is all I'm saying. In the end, if you're short on cash, and like many of you are, that I've gotten feedback from, is because the POA materials are not cheap. You spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Well, that's what it's going to cost to pass this test. I hate to tell you. You can't spend $80 on this guy's book or anybody else's if it's old and think you're going to pass it. unless you were really experienced before you started studying. There are people out there that have such vast experience, they don't need to study very much at all. I wasn't one of those, and I know a lot of people that weren't. Not everybody's strong at everything. Very few of us. So, again, I caution you about old study materials. You have to, it's almost like if you want to know that you're not studying anything out of date, you need to spend the money on the POA. I hate to tell you, it's just tough. That's all I got to say. Any more questions about that? Certainly feel free to put them in the comments. I'm going to do a video next time on, what was I going to do? Flashcards. Yeah. Those are, that requires a separate video for sure. So stay tuned. We'll talk about the flashcards next, and we'll go from there. Take care. See you next time.